It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 31st of October. It is a Halloween. This is the C block, the Charlie block. And John, I have to start it off with asking you some questions because you are somewhat of a financial guru. You really do a lot of stuff in the market and things like that, correct?
Oh, guru is too complimentary, but I'd be happy to answer anything I might know.
Okay. The market, first off, when Trump originally proposed all these tariffs and the market crashed, what did you do?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, this is not financial advice. And so I'm in I won't even go down that road. I think that it depends, Brad. It depends on, I think the easy answer, what I'm supposed to say is that everybody should have bought a lot of things. And I think folks who bought the proverbial dip ended up doing pretty well. Now, Brad, my caveat to that, without getting too deep into it, is that the idea of always buy the dip is not a great idea because a bargain that remains a bargain is not a bargain. But if your point, Brad, is that folks should have been investing when the market was down, that has certainly proved to be correct.
And didn't we set another new high yesterday? I know we set one this week.
Yeah, we've been doing a new all-time high after new all-time high.
Now, the next question is, John, on this very radio station yesterday afternoon with Erick Erickson, is on from noon to 3. He discussed this, and I would like your opinion on this. He said the thing that he thinks is very scary about the situation is if you look at the indexes, they keep going up and up and up, but the majority of the growth is in a very few stocks, primarily centered around AI and the associated equipment, chips, NVIDIA, things like that. What's your opinion on that?
Well, you certainly have market concentration there, and you could call them the Mag 7. So, and then sometimes depending on how you define it, it could be the Mag 8. But what you certainly have the big dogs like Apple, NVIDIA, Amazon, Microsoft. The biggest stocks certainly have the largest market cap. And I don't know when it was. It might have been about a year ago when NVIDIA, the chip maker, ended up having a higher market capitalization. So in other words, if you take the value of the shares times the number of the shares, NVIDIA finally eclipsed Apple. I want to say it was a year ago. So which shows the power of AI. And then the caveat there, and I don't know if this is what Erick Erickson was getting at, is that we entered a point about 18 months ago where every company on our quarterly earnings call would talk about how they were taking advantage of AI. And even if they didn't have much of an idea of how AI would improve their business, if you use the word AI and you talk about your AI initiatives, your stock goes up.
Which worries me because I went through the dot-com meltdown. I mean, I'm not stock-wise, but I went through it business-wise. And I don't know if I've ever told this story or not, but back in the day when I bought the radio stations back in 1998, 1997, 1998, about a year after that, the streaming thing got to be hot. And a lot of people don't realize this, but that's how Mark Cuban made his billions of dollars. He had a company called broadcast.com, which ironically was somewhat of a, how do I put this, sort of a fake company. And I'm not saying that Mark Cuban did a fake company, but what he had was not much. And the people in the industry knew this. And apparently he's the world's best salesperson. And he sold it to Yahoo for I don't know how many $1 billion. And the crazy part of it is that after a year, Yahoo actually killed the company, literally killed it off. What his business was, he was doing streaming services. And at one point in time, we had, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, with KSLQ, we had 6 streams of KSLQ up and running because we had all these streaming companies that, oh my God, this is going to be the world's best thing. Now, the problem, if you go back to 1998, and the interesting thing about it was they would send me thousands of dollars of equipment. I would get boxes of computers and encoders and stuff like that, and they kept calling me, hey, would you like to stream KSLQ? I'm running streaming on 2 streams. Well, you need a 3rd stream. Okay, fine, send me the equipment. I'll take it. I'd set the stuff up, and at one point in time, we had 6 streams. We did not have Mark Cuban because that was not his business model. The bizarre part of this was all these companies that had all this stock market money in them, all these investors, oh my God, streaming's the next big thing. The problem was, do you know what the main problem was back in 1998, John?
Probably bandwidth.
Exactly. And the problem was that we could get stuff up onto the streaming server, but the problem was getting it back down because most people were still using dial-up. And
that's generally, Brad, at your age, the opposite of the problem you have, right?
Which is?
It's not getting it up, right? I mean, well, go ahead, Brad. So your point, though, which I interrupted, was you could get the stuff up, but it was hard for people to download because who could possibly stream fast enough in 1998?
And I remember a couple of my friends that worked in corporate environments would say, hey, man, I'm listening to your station. I go, do you have any buffering problems? No, man, I'm at the office. We're doing it on T1. Yeah, of course. Remember T1?
Yeah, I remember T1, Brad.
Sorry, John, I'm coughing. Okay. The point being that almost all of these companies went out of business, and two of them went into bankruptcy, and one of them was owned by Dick Clark. It was called Broadcast America, and probably for 5 or 6 years, I'd get the bankruptcy notices every couple months, because mandated.
And you could claim 7 cents if you spent 25 hours with the lawyer.
Right, exactly. Or I could get a coupon to watch one of Dick Clark's Saturday night or his.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to watch American Bandstand?
Right, or his
what
New
was
Year's Eve
Erickson's point? Was it general kvetching, and was it generally? And don't take offense to this, Brad. But an old person seeing technology shifts and then saying, "I don't like it. Scary."
No. His thing was he made the correlation that I did that if you look back in history, what's the old saying? Those people who don't remember history or forced
pay
to
attention
repeat
to history are doomed to repeat it.
Go ahead. Doomed to repeat it. Hold on just a minute. I'm not doing well this morning, John. I'm sorry. Okay. He essentially said the same thing, that he's very concerned that, and exactly what you said. Everybody's saying AI. I'm using AI, and here's the crazy thing. Am I all of a sudden becoming like a rich man because I'm using AI for writing some scripts and for producing some commercials and stuff like that? No, it's a tool. And it's exactly, I expressed something. Somebody asked me the other day about this. They go, has AI changed your business? And I said to him, this is sort of a stupid answer. I said, do you cut your own grass? And he says, yeah. I go, what do? Do you cut it with a pair of scissors? No, I have a lawnmower. I said, okay, at one point in time, how people cut their grass was they literally, first off, they didn't cut their grass. They had sheep or stuff like that went and ate the grass.
Yeah. Or if you're a tiny little Asian woman, you get on your knees and you use a pair of scissors.
Right. Or back in the day, if you remember, I don't know if you remember this, maybe your grandparents had one. My dad had one that I think I still have somewhere. A push reel mower. You know what I'm talking about? One of those.
No, I've never seen one of those.
Oh yeah, it's got 2 wheels on the side, and it's got they use the reel mower still on golf courses, and they use them like they're very precision cut mowers. They still use them for like cutting the grass at Busch Stadium.
Yeah,
like
we've discussed it many times on the show because I bought one, Brad.
That's right.
We've discussed many times on the show that I used it a handful of times, and then I went out and bought a regular lawnmower.
And it was miserable, correct, John?
Absolutely miserable. If you roll over one gumball,
right.
You have to stop and manually remove the gumball.
And the point being is the technology has made it very affordable for you to go out to Wally World and buy a $150 lawnmower, which will maybe last you for 2 seasons. You go buy some gas, and you can cut your grass very efficiently. That was my point. To me, AI has become another tool that I use here at the radio station. It's not going to make the station have better ratings or get more listeners or cover more, area.
I mean, we wouldn't know if it had better ratings, though, would we, Brad?
I knew you were going to say that. But so that's my point. I think that's the whole thing. And what you're saying is interesting because all the companies are jumping on the band. Whoa, we use AI. It's the part we're going like, okay. Now, the interesting part of this is that there's been in the past couple of days this week, there's been several big company layoffs. UPS is talking about laying off people and stuff like that. And everybody's jumped to the conclusion, oh, it's AI. Okay, in UPS, you know what the deal in UPS is?
What is it?
UPS is essentially realizing that their model is becoming less and less profitable because they essentially are totally vertically integrated. They own the entire distribution and shipping chain, okay? And the problem with that is that has become back in its day it was a point of a positive point. Now it becomes a negative point because look what Amazon does and look what FedEx does. I've talked about this before. There's one particular gas station I go to which is near a FedEx depot, and if I go in there in the morning, there's probably 12 FedEx trucks all at the pumps. You can't get to the pumps. And my thing is, if you look at the FedEx ground guys, the guys that are delivering to your home, if you look at the trucks, on each of the trucks, typically right behind the driver's door, down on the bottom of the truck, you'll see a sign that says that truck is owned by XYZ LLC, blah, 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 blah. Because FedEx has essentially outsourced a lot of their delivery. The overnight guys are still FedEx employees, but the other guys are contractors, and that's what UPS is trying to do, to the point where they're already talking about it. They're getting tremendous pushback from the unions. They're trying to do the same model that Amazon's doing, where they do have Amazon people who are hired by Amazon. Then they have independent contractors, and then they have who use vehicles that are bought and paid for by their individual companies. But then they have, and this is the sticking point with UPS, like gig people who essentially would show up at the UPS terminal, and they're giving they're giving these people the less profitable deliveries. Grandma Jones has got a box of Q-tips that's going to her house.
Or somebody left their luggage at the airport. You got to drive it to them in the next 6 hours.
Well, I don't know about that kind of stuff, but
I've seen those videos online. Brad, we have 2 minutes left. Can you give us what a fascinating UPS ground contractor story? Can you give us a gallbladder update?
I went yesterday, and once again, they thought I was having a heart attack, which, once again, I'm not. They did an EEG or EKG on me and everything. As a matter of fact, I passed with flying colors. I have been miserable for the past 36 hours, to be honest with you. Quite honestly, I was almost tempted about 4 o'clock this morning to text you, go, John, I don't think I can make it this morning.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know. I mean, they're now concerned that it may not be the gallbladder stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Plus, I still have this goofy head cold that I can't shake. It's just like, getting old just sucks. That's all there is to it.
Do you think that over the weekend, going to the transmitter site for 12 to 16 hours over the weekend, being out in chilly weather and working yourself to the bone, you think that's going to help?
No, I'm going to go over to Eastside and hang out at PT's all weekend, John. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, nice. Is PT still around?
Yes, of course. You can't lose PTs. Okay, John.
Does that stand for anything? Does it stand for like pretty memories or something? Just thinking off the top of my head, what would it stand for?
Well, it's an old carryover from when there used to be
the PT Cruiser.
No, there used to be the streetcars in St. Louis, and you had the public streetcars and you had the private streetcars. And to get on the private streetcars, you had to go through the private turnstile. So that was called PTs. Okay.
Oh, nice. Didn't know that, Brad. Let's run with that. Like that story you made up about the Hoosier Country Western Bar, and you made up some story about Brooks and Dunn making up a story, writing a song there?
That's true. That's place. I
Googled it, and it's not, but that's a heck of a story. Didn't you try to get Shelley to buy that story?
She bought it hook, line, and sinker. What are you talking about?
That's so funny.
Okay. Say